Today's video, we're doing a 128 cubic inch Fatbob. I'm going to be talking to you guys a lot throughout this video about what I'm doing and some of the build process, what's actually happening and what we're looking at. So hopefully you guys are going to get a little bit more insight and depth into what goes on. Before we get stuck into the build, we're going to pop this bike up on the dyno. We're going to baseline it just to see where it's at, and then we're going to dive straight into the build process. Righto guys, so before we get started on the build, we've got it up on the dyno here. We're going to warm this thing up and we're going to do 3 baseline runs back to back at temperature to get a good average of the horsepower and torque ratings. Let's take a look at the current setup. Right, so currently the bike is a 114 cubic inch and it's running the SP Concepts 2-in-1 with the Screaming Eagle Stage 1 air filter. So pretty basic setup. Let's get it warmed up, do these runs, and we'll see what we're working with. Righto guys, there we are, 86 horsepower on the first one with 104 foot-pounds of torque, followed by 87 105 and 87 104 on the final run there. So happy to call that 87 horsepower, 104 foot-pounds of torque. Let's get this motor built and see how much we beat those numbers by. Righto guys, so it's all torn down, ready to go. We're just measuring the run out here. You can see we've got less than 5 thousandths on our Elliott Tools pinion shaft run out tool. I'll put a link in the description. But for now, let's get this new 8-lobe oil pump installed. So this being an earlier Softail, it did have the older style pump in there. On a build, this customer was spending a fair bit of money, so you know, for less than $300, we upgraded the oil pump to the 8-lobe one. I like to assemble these things, oil everything up as you go on. So the backing plate, then the scavenge rotors, then the housing, and then of course the feed rotors on the front. That's the way I like to do it. It's quite easy, and I just make sure it's as much oil as possible just to get started. Now the factory cam plates, guys, it's a very debatable topic here, but they are more than capable of doing everything we need to do on these on these hot street applications, to be honest. Sure, if you want a circuit racing engine with more flow, more volume, definitely check out the Screaming Eagle Pro Billet Super Sucker oil pump and cam plate combo. But you know, 95% of the time, the factory OE cam plate is going to handle all you need it to do. Just setting up the shim there, just to set our drive sprocket offset. So what that guy does is just keeps the drive sprocket on the top there, in line with the pinion shaft drive sprocket on the bottom, and they come in 10th increments. Just to ensure we can get the sprockets aligned as much as possible. I've already measured this and set it all up, so that's why it's all just going together. Bottom screw there, just nipping it in with the impact gun. Final torque here of 24 foot-pounds. And something that I've just started doing lately, guys, just as an added level of security, is just putting a little white paint pen mark on the bolts, on the fasteners, just to ensure that they're all tightened up, because you know, I'm always answering the phone or doing emails or inboxing people. So yeah, sometimes if you get caught up and you forget, it's good to just put the paint pen on there. As soon as you've done it, then you know it's all done. Top one here, pretty straightforward, 34 foot-pounds of torque. And we finish off just by adding some Loctite to our T27 screws here for the chain tensioner, the hydraulic chain tensioner. And we just snip those guys up, easy as. Right, so we're running the new high capacity lifters from APE. Now I've talked about this in another video, but this is how I bleed these up. So there's a lot of people rave on, they soak them in oil, they put them in these. I mean, the vacuum cup trick does work great too, but this is very quick and easy here. Just take your oil can, stick it at the feed hole on the lifter and squirt it in there. It eventually comes out the top of the lifter cup, as you can see, and you know, then that thing is pretty much bled up. I mean, obviously it's not totally bled up, but it's very full of oil, so it definitely reduces the bleed up time when you crank the engine over to fire it up. Right, so I'm just running the screw down there with the impact gun just to get it almost torqued before I torque it up, and we do have 2.5 thousandths feeler gauges, as you can see there, on either side of the lifter cuff, just to ensure that the cuff is centered over the lifters so there's no interference or binding on the lifters as they make their way up through the travel range on there. So here I'm doing the ring end gap. Obviously, most of you probably aware 4th thou per inch of bore is a general rule of thumb to go by for a street engine. Something a little bit more high compression, you probably want to go to 4.5 thou, maybe even 5 thousandths per inch of bore. Turboed, supercharged, nitrous applications are all different, but this sort of street performance engine, I like to run these at 5 thousandths per inch of bore because obviously they're an air-cooled engine. This thing's at 11:1, and we just want a little bit more room we want these things a little bit bigger than tighter. So just to keep them happy, we're not going to give away much horsepower by running them at 5 thousandths versus 4.5 or even 4 thousandths per inch. So just got the little grinding tool here, just getting my ring end gaps done. I'm not going to show this whole process, but getting the pistons on here quite easy, just lubing up the skirts of the pistons. Don't really put any oil on the rings, I just ensure that the skirts are lubed. Once they're on there, we can get our cylinders on. It is a bit tricky, I'll show you in a minute with the rear cylinder. It can be pretty tight, but I'll talk about that in a second. Just getting some oil in the cylinder here, ready to go. You'll see these ring compressors are really good. They're old school things, they've been around for a long time and they work great. I really like them, they're quick and easy. Clamp it up, just get it just below the top of the piston so our cylinder can just get started on there. You'll see here how tight it is trying to get this thing. You just sort of got to line it up in the right orientation just to get the cylinder over the stud there, as you can see, and underneath the top of the frame. The front one's so much easier to do. You'll see in a second how the front one just basically falls on here, but you can see it's a little bit tight. You just don't want to damage or mark anything, so sitting it on there, we just want to hold our fingers up underneath the piston and push our cylinder down. You just got to wriggle it on there, make sure the studs are lined up inside the cylinder, and easy as that. It's a little bit harder on the rear. You'll watch in a second here how easy the front goes on. Just want to wriggle the cylinder into the spigot of the cases nice and gently. We don't want to damage anything. Now watch this, guys, the front one, we just lift it on. Obviously I've oiled up the inside of the cylinder, lift it on over the top of the piston and just line up the stud. The thing, it just almost falls on there. Like, I've done a few of them, so probably a little bit more efficient at it than most, but yeah, much easier on the front. So what I'm doing here, guys, is just drilling out the inner primary to accommodate, we're doing a mid-mount conversion. So customer had some forward controls on there. Well, it is a Fatbob, right, so they come with forward controls already, but we're going back to a set of genuine mid-mounts. So the factory inner primary there has the provision to be drilled out, because it's the same inner primary on all models. So we drill that guy out for our shift shaft, you can see there, to fit through. Now the beauty of these, you don't have to take that off to fit everything, but we do have to upgrade the outer cover because that boss right there sticks, well, there's a sealing surface right there, that round surface seals on the inside of the inner primary, and you can see it doesn't have it there on the left one because it's the factory one, but that inner boss seals up on the inside there where that black round gasket is on the shift shaft, and that keeps it all sealed up and not leaking. Obviously we've upgraded the comp ramp and the clutch springs. There was a lot of other stuff I did with this bike, guys, I didn't really show. We obviously we did some Screaming Eagle fork cartridges, the Screaming Eagle Ohlins fork cartridges in the front as well. And we also replaced the rear tail tidy. What else did we do? We did the mid controls. We upgraded the air filter, of course. Just getting everything plugged in here, the fuel gauge, the breather for the tank, and the quick connect fuel line. And then we'll chuck the seat on here in a minute, and then we'll get this thing fired up and we'll see what it sounds like. I'm going to crank this thing up. You're going to see me in a minute feeling for any exhaust leaks, and then I'm going to go around with my torch just to ensure we've got no oil leaks. Let's see what it sounds like. Righto guys, so we're up here on the dyno. As you can see, we're about to get started on the tuning process. I do have a few predictions with this thing. These SPC pipes, they look very much like a TBR 2-into-1. Like, I'm not sure if it's a rebranding or what, but they look almost identical. We may still see a bit of a slight dip there. Around that 3,000, 3,500 RPM is typically where I see a bit of a nosedive on the torque curve. Shouldn't be too bad on this because it is a bigger cube, and the 483 will provide a good mid-range. So let's get started on it, and we'll just see what we end up with in the end. Righto guys, we're all done on the tune. Obviously you just saw then the last final wide open power run. The complete tuning process was done. I've obviously just shown the wide open, the final wide open run there just to keep the video short. But guys, let's jump up and have a look at the results. Rightio guys, check out that result. We were making 87 and 105. You can see now 133, and I'm calling that 150 foot-pounds of torque. That is a huge difference, guys. This is really going to be noticeable. As expected, we do have that slight dip there. You can see between sort of 2,500 to 3,500. So little drop there within that 1,000 RPM bracket, but you will not feel, I mean, you're definitely not going to feel that coming up from what the bike rode in like. So on that note, guys, I want to go and take this thing for a ride out on the street. I mean, it looks great. I love how the white and the black pairs together with that color of the pipe there. I think it looks good. It definitely sounds great. So let's go for a ride and we'll see just what it performs like on the road. Thanks for watching this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you know what to do. Leave them down there in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as possible. All the other details there, if you want to get in contact with me, email is the best preferred. I mean, you can reach out to me on socials, but if you do want to get in touch about some engine work and stuff like that, sure, hit me up on Instagram. But for formality reasons, I do prefer email. All those details are down in the description, so check them out, and I'll see you next time.